We continue to preview the 2025 college football season. Our stop today is Lindsborg, Kansas, as we visit with Mike Grossner, who is the head coach for the Bethany Swedes, heading into year number 3 in that position. Coach, it's always a privilege to get to visit with you, and I want to start off with 2024, 3-8 the record, but Coach, it's not an offer, it's not a one-fer, and clearly there is progress made from, a tangible perspective. I say tangible, it's visible there in the record as well. Tell us a little bit about 2024.
Yeah, good to be back, Joey. Good to see you. We started off strong. We got on a little bit of a roll and won a couple games in a row. And then we went over to St. Mary and had an opportunity to win, but our quarterback went down. And I don't like to make excuses, but Landry Shields was playing at a very high level, and he went down in the first quarter with a shoulder, non-throwing, but it was season ending. And then we just kind of shuffled in about 3 young quarterbacks, and about 20 picks later, it was a rough outing on offense. There were times we looked good, but you can't turn the ball over, and played some very good opponents in the back half in our conference play, and they exposed us when we turned the ball over. So, you saw signs of life early, and then we competed, but we weren't ready in our conference to get to the top. So we learned some lessons. We evaluated. We really went after it recruiting, and I think we brought in a great class.
Coach, let's stay there then for just a moment, because it really seems like you're recruiting well. And I know we visited before on this channel about recruiting, and that, there are challenges in that, in trying to recruit and rebuild at the same time. And where it's been a young team for the last couple of years, Coach, it's going to be a young team again this year. And you're recruiting very well, but there's still that youth factor.
Yeah, younger team. We've got 10 upperclassmen total, juniors and seniors, which is kind of uncanny in my career. But there's some factors involved there. There's change. With change, there's the portal, which is real big at every level. Guys are trying to jump out of the NAIA and go Division II or I. They see some success. 1 or 2 individuals across the country, have some success doing that. And they feel like the pasture might be greener out there. I have a philosophy: if you got 1 foot out, your both feet are out. That'll probably never change. And I want culture. I want guys that want to be at Bethany and want to get a degree and win championships. And so there's been some tough decisions both ways. With that, we recruited for it. We're not a big transfer school coming in. So we like to get some high school guys and develop them and hopefully keep them here for 4 years. That's been the key. I think small college football is probably feeling it across the country. Can you keep them for 4 years? That sophomore to junior year, I think, is the biggest transition year, because if they stay and they're a junior, they're gonna stay as a senior and graduate. And so that's some things we're trying to improve on from a school standpoint, not just football program.
Yeah.
But until then, I had 10 years experience junior college playing with freshmen, won a national title starting 15 freshmen. And I've still got that mentality if that's what it takes. I'm not an age guy. If you're ready to play, you're ready to play, and we're going to put you in there and let you go. High school coaching and training and all the above is really good. So these kids come in as 18-year-olds ready to play. There is that difference, that 22, 23-year-old going against an 18-year-old. There's a difference physically and experience-wise. But, once you get 5 or 6 games into it, I think everybody's experienced and hopefully you're healthy and these guys are ready to go.
I understand. Coach, you mentioned Landry Shields. Let's start there in previewing 2025. Of course, quarterback positions, always a good place to start when you're looking over your team for next year. He'll be a junior for you this year and injured last year. Is he coming back? Is he projected to start? So tell us a little bit about him and what this quarterback room may look like.
Yeah, I had a wild summer. I'm the quarterback coach, and I felt like my room was full and Landry's healthy and ready to go. And I was after some young guys. I wanted a room of about 5. And I had that in June, and then July I had a room of 2. And all of a sudden I got into the portals and looking for maybe a more experienced guy in case something happened to Landry. And I came across 2 guys, recruited one out of Wisconsin, felt good about him, and then he was wavering. I had signed a kid out of El Paso that was the 5A regional player of the year, and I felt really good going into the summer. But then he surprised me. He got a scholarship to go to med school and at University of Texas Austin, and felt like that was the fit. So he was going to stay home. We got his cousin David Martinez, going to be a great linebacker for us. So everything kind of turned over right there in June, and I a friend of a friend got a hold of me, and then all of a sudden I got an email from a junior college coach, and there was this young man available from Alabama, and it was a junior college out of South Carolina that I had never recruited. And I emailed the coach, said, "Hey, we're in a unique situation. It'd be a great situation to have him come in and battle for the job, and he's experienced, and it's what I'm looking for." And within a week, he was admitted and on his way. His name's Jesse Caver the third, and he was at Tuskegee, and they had a full room, and he had 1 year left there, 2 years left in the NAIA, and we talked about it, and he's here, and he's really upped Landry's game. I mean, it's a great competition. You know how that goes. And then Ty Owens, our number 3, who played and started our last couple games last year, has upped his game. So you know how competition breeds that. And so I feel really good about our room. And then I signed a late signee out of Dallas, Nimitz High School, Andrew Valencia. He sent me some tape late, and we got him. And so feel really good. And then I've got my ultra backup plan in Trapper Inzer. Trapper could be a senior. He still has another year left, might do a grad year. But he was our starter for about 4 games. He was a Mary Hardin Baylor transfer, and we moved him to tight end in the spring, and he adapted. He's our starting tight end. But I have him work out a little bit weekly, throwing some balls in individual drills, just keeping him ready to go. So I feel, all the chaos that happened all summer, I feel really good about our quarterback situation.
And you have a backup plan to the backup plan to the backup plan.
I played 4 of them last year.
Yeah. Well, I understand that, Coach. We're visiting, by the way, with Coach Mike Grossner here on Midwest Sportsnet, and I encourage you, please take the time to subscribe to the channel. We enjoy talking about small college sports and more throughout the Midwest and beyond as we're previewing 2025 and the Bethany Swedes. Coach, talking about the quarterback room, let's look at the rest of the offense then. Josiah Hardrick, running back for you, is coming back for another year. Take us through your offense quickly.
Yeah, Josiah was a pleasant surprise. He was going to maybe go over and play in Europe, and he still had a couple classes left, and he was kind of a summer call. I want to do this again, and that was great for us. He's a great leader, of our team and our offense for sure. And you need that older guy, and we've got some good young backs. Natavius Johnson is a special kid played in Arkansas, but moved to Nebraska his senior year, spring. I recruited him last year, and he took a gap year and stayed in touch, and he's special. So we got him as well. And then we got this kid out of Kansas City KIPP High School, Legacy High School. You watch him on tape, the competition was average, I think, but he stood out. He's a big kid, 190, 185 pound. Jadavian Fleming goes by Chop. Man, we had our first scrimmage, and he broke one for about 60, and it looked really nice. And then we brought in a big back late out of Texas, Carlos Leonard, big 215-pound back that was still available. And we felt like we needed another one. So he's with us, and he had a nice scrimmage the other day. So I feel really good about our backfield. Our fullback situation is really good. Josiah played that a lot last year, but we signed some good young fullbacks. Jackson Cobbs, Ethan Outley out of Valley Center, Kansas. Trent Akins is a pleasant surprise from Coffeyville. He's a tough dude, and he'll hit you in the mouth. So feel really good about the backfield situation. Up front's our strength. We returned two all-conference guys in Ruben Albanderas and Lenny Boykin. Both, one's 339 pounds, one's 312 pounds. That'll be our right side. We're going to find a center. We've got about three guys that are playing well. And then our left side's a young man, Camden Jensen, out of Hutch High School. He's 295 pounds. And then really good player nobody knows about is Gus Griffith. Gus is a local Lindsborg kid, Smoky Valley. Went to Friends University his first year, so he had to sit last year. So he's practiced for 2 years now, and he's ready to play. He's 6'5", 305, great athlete, smart. So feel good up front. And then at receiver, we've got a young crew. My son, Riker, is the elder statesman. He led us in receiving last year with 31 catches. He'll be a sophomore. Jace Williams, a guy been around here, was here before I got here. He's had a nice fall camp. And then Chase Heyer out of Fort Scott was banged up a little bit last year, but super explosive kid. And he'll be in the slot opposite of Riker. And then we brought in a lot of Texas kids. You'll hear me say Texas. It's been good to us. Adelio Williams will be at the X position. An Arkansas kid, Khalil Marks, will be out there with him. And then Daniel Smith, another Texas kid, will be out at the Z position. And then Bennett Mallory was a late signee out of Houston. Really good player. Will play kind of everywhere for us. Jonathan Cano, a kid out of Hays, Kansas, Shrinebow kid, he's going to be a good player for us. So even though we're young, I feel really good. Once they learn it, it's kind of funny to watch them, the maturation process with these guys. They'll tell you in the meeting room, yeah, and then we get them out there, and they don't go left or right sometimes when you just call out the formation. They're thinking too much. But once they stop thinking and the ability comes out, we've got a special crew on offense.
I look forward to seeing some tape, Coach, and seeing some of the games too with what you were talking about there on the line and on that right side. And if you put a tight end over there, I want to see Student Body Right a few times on that one. Well, Coach, defense-wise, and I'm sorry, there's a fly in the studio here. It's a little bit challenging. That's nothing to what you're saying. I'm just being distracted by that. On the defensive side, let's start with the linebacker room, because it looks like there are going to be some new faces, some old faces that are still there, but it looks like a strong place to start.
Yeah, both all-conference kids are now coaching for me. One's finishing his master's. Kyrie Marshall doing a heck of a job coaching, and we'll be done with school this semester. And then Julian Carpenter, our leader the last 3 years, is back coaching and loving it. You kind of got to get that fixed somehow. And we talked him into coming back from Arizona, and he's taken a couple courses, and boy, he's good. He's really good with the kids, and he has enthusiasm. And Kyrie's kind of that quiet guy that just, knows how to do it. So they're a good tandem, and they're coaching a new bunch. We moved Cooper Bogenhagen, Junction City kid that played fullback for us last year. He was a linebacker in high school, and we moved him in the spring, and he's really adapted well. He can play inside and out for us, so that's a good thing. And he's a leader on our defense as a sophomore. And then Jonah Wood, I've always had the philosophy that if you got a safety and you can move him down, he becomes a more athletic linebacker. And that's what we did with Jonah. Jonah was at Bethel, Tennessee, a real good program. Brought him in last year. He played quite a bit at free safety for us, but we felt like there was an opening there late in the year for him. He's 205 pounds, and he moved in there late last season, got some good action, and now he'll be a starter or a first guy in on the inside for us. David Martinez, I mentioned, I think he's going to be special. He just got a nose for the ball and loves football. Like I said, he was a 5A one player of the year on defense in El Paso, and he stepped in. He's a 220-pound kid ready to play some football for us. So still really good inside. James Sully is a young man that played linebacker for us. We've moved him up off the edge. That old adage, move him closer, a little more speed. So he's going to do some great things for us. We've got a lot of guys in that linebacker room that'll play some special teams and get on the field, but feel really good. And then, up front, we're probably as fast as we've been since I've been here. We signed a bunch of D-ends. I felt like last year we were playing with D tackles at the D-end position, and we weren't getting a great edge rush. And so our guys did a great job of recruiting a 6'3", 200, 220 D-end that can run. So we've got a young man out of Nickerson, Keyston Abernathy, that's going to be a really good player, 6'3", 200-pounder that can run. Caden Key out of Texas, 6'3", 220, great athlete. So these guys are going to give us an edge rush. And then Calvin Jeans is our anchor, 4-year starter. He's played linebacker, D-end, D tackle. He played at about 285 last year, which was too heavy. He's now 260, and he's going to play inside for us and real good player for us. So feel good. We moved a D lineman over to O-line, and, when you do that, they're usually a more athletic O-lineman. So Tyler Blackman came over from the D-line. He's going to help us at O-line, probably be a 6-man type guy.
Well, Coach, obviously, the way you're talking about all this, and we've talked about the youth on the team too, man, it really looks promising once again. And I think my fly friend has another friend. So I think I'm being double teamed. I'll ask you this. So all summer long, we've been trying to get to know the coaches a little bit better. And the question that we've asked over the course of this summer is, what's your favorite 80s song or 80s band?
Yeah, it's, that's easy for me. I think they're 80s. I remember growing up, Hootie and the Blowfish, Darius Rucker. He has transitioned to do anything he wants. But
yes,
if I'm sitting in the backyard barbecuing with my wife and we're listening to music, I always put Hootie on. She's probably tired of it, but that just seems to calm me and perfect for a barbecue.
Okay, that works. That'll work. Yeah. And Coach, and he's still around, like you said. Yeah. He does whatever he wants to, so that works out well. The season gets underway, and it's quick. It's just right around the corner from this recording. It starts with Friends, and challenging opponent there on the road. Go to Wichita for that one. Then your first home game, take on Kansas Wesleyan. I know that one's always an interesting matchup. Yeah. Those crossover games in the KCAC, and then a little bit of a break on the bye week. Divisional play starts. The Kessinger division looks a little bit different this year than it has in the last 2 years, and you guys get to host Avila to get things started there. So tell us about your schedule.
Yeah, you open with the best team, I think, in our league, both sides in Friends University. They're number one, very good football team and veteran team, but unique style. They run that flex bone triple option, and I like to play that early, get it out of the way. Real be honest, I think every coach in the country would tell you that. If you watched them in the playoffs last year, my old league, they took on Grandview in the second round. Well, the first round they rushed for 600 plus yards and set a national record for rushing in the playoffs against a good Arizona Ottawa team. And then they took on Grandview, who's, national champs, always close, and end up being national champs last year. And they had them 17-7 at halftime and looked really good. And then they didn't get in the end zone, lost 21-17. And then Grandview ran the table pretty easy after that. So that'll tell you the opponent we open up with. that type of opponent, you got to have success on offense. You can't turn the ball over, and you got to hold on to it and keep your defense off the field. And we're young on defense, so it's going to be quite a challenge. So we'll go compete, see what happens. I feel good about our guys. And then we come back with the school up north, a rival. Enough said. They'll be down here, new coach. It'll be a great atmosphere, night game. And we'll see how we do there. And then, we got a couple opponents, tough. The Bissell side of the whole thing's real tough. So our goal there is to compete, see how we do, stay healthy, gain some experience, and then, like you said, we come back at our homecoming Hillings Fest. It's a Swedish celebration here, so we get a huge crowd, and we bring an Avalon for that. And that ought to be a great deal, and that'll kick off the Kessinger division. And I feel if we're healthy and rolling a little bit and gain some experience, I think we can make a run in the Kessinger division.
I think that the momentum is on your side. And I know, Coach, momentum is not something really that carries over from year to year. I realize you start 0-0 every single year. But within the program itself and within development that you've been able to instill there in the program, your alma mater, there's something to that. So I look forward to seeing the success for the Swedes this season, and we're going to continue to follow you all season long, Coach, as always. Coach Mike Grossner, thank you, sir, for taking time to preview Bethany this year and for being with us here on Midwest Sportsnet.
Always a pleasure, Joey. Great seeing you, man.